a suit and tie and get your hair cut way up high. Get yourself a lawyer, son. You're gonna need a real good one.
If you'd like some free legal advice, well, David Whiting has it ready for you. And you can call in 1300 222 774 and we'll chat through your issue and then David can point you in the right direction. Good morning, David Whiting.
Good morning, Virginia.
You're homework free.
Indeed. So I read some cases because that's what one does in a week off.
More importantly, you got your jab. Did you?
No, this Thursday.
Oh, you booked in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Where are you going?
I'm going to exhibition buildings.
Right. Got your appointment?
Yes, I do. No, I'm up on the tram, back on the tram. That's the way it works.
You're nervous?
No. My view would be, look, I think are there risks? There's risks in getting up in the morning. There's risks in going to work during the day.
Well, you'd know that as a lawyer.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But no, I come along and say it's an acceptable risk for the benefit.
Have you cancelled your meetings for the next day? You can feel, I hear, pretty crappy.
I have one meeting the following day, which I reckon I can cope with, but I've got rid of the rest of them because they say it can be 2 or 3 days. So in a very selfish way,
just one, yeah.
In a very selfish way, I've asked everybody who's having them in the office to put them at the end of the week so we don't lose any more time than we need.
Oh, no. So
that was a request. It wasn't a demand.
They ruin their week. You're an awful boss.
Yeah, indeed.
They ruin their weekend just so you can get a bit more productivity out of them.
Yep. Okay, good.
I'll look forward to hearing from some other law firm when someone makes a complaint about the working practices in your law firm.
Mine was only a suggestion. It's not a demand. They want to do it Monday morning, they're welcome.
And when David suggests, you obey. What were you reading? What's a bit of case law that might affect us?
Every now and then, Virginia, somebody gets a summons that isn't meant for them.
You meant it goes to the wrong address?
No, it would be, in this particular case, what happened was Company A sold their business.
Yep.
And the company that bought the business bought it in the name of a company A1. Right. So a name that was in fact quite similar and was intended to trade off the goodwill of the first business.
Okay.
Happens all the time. Uh-huh. Company A, the first company, the one that sold the business, changed its name to X.
Yep.
All right. And what happened was the company A1, the second, the buyer company, purchased some services from another company and for whatever reason didn't get around to paying them. And what then happened was the supplier sued the wrong company, sued the company which didn't order the services.
Oh, I see.
And the company that didn't order the services sends the lawyer an email that says, got the wrong people, it's not us. And the lawyers acting for the purchase, the supplier of services, went and into judgment on the summons against the company which didn't incur the services. Mm. And then they go off to the magistrate's court for a rehearing. The magistrate refuses it. It then has at least 2 visits to the Supreme Court, a winding up application. The process just went on and on and on. I would have thought that it cost the first company, the company that didn't order the services but was made the defendant, somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 to establish that it didn't have a liability for a $3,000 bill. So if you get a summons,
respond.
Well, make sure that you've dealt with it rather than just hit it back over the net.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Or just say, hey, not my issue. You need to engage with it a little bit. This is going to end up being an expensive...
frighteningly expensive.
Like how frighteningly?
Well, as I said, it was a $3,000 bill.
Yeah, but...
That shouldn't have incurred them any costs at all. Mm. They've got, I think it was 3 visits to the Supreme Court, and let's call that $10,000 a time, plus their costs in the magistrate's court, all over a $3,000 bill. So $30,000, and there'll be some contributions made by the supplier who sued the wrong party, but it won't go anywhere near covering their costs.
Okay, well, there you go. You've been warned. But if you'd like some help, 1300 222 774 is our number. Anna in the city of Yarra gets to go first this morning. Hi, Anna.
Yes, hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my problem is I have a large development happening behind our house, and the builders come and knocked on the door and sort of said we need to, because there's sewer works at the back, saying we need to demolish a wall, and that wall is actually structurally attached to an amenity.
Structure attached to an amenity?
To an outside toilet.
Oh, okay.
That kind of amenity.
Well, you know, I would have
Yes.
thought, yeah, okay, that kind of amenity. Is it on the boundary? I mean, the issue will be, my view is it will be your wall inside your boundary.
Yes, it's my wall, but the sewer line is actually like outside.
Yes.
Like it's not, but it's very, very close to. So they're saying the wall will be compromised. It will fall. And like 3 doors down, there was a sinkhole they made.
There's a concept called protection works. Mm-hmm. So they ought to give you a protection works notice. Mm-hmm. They ought to be able to tell you what they're doing to make sure that your problem doesn't get any worse. Mm. And if they don't, then you just don't allow them access to your property and they'll be liable for whatever happens to your property. Mm. This could be a chance for them to rebuild the amenity. There's lots of ways that you could strike a deal.
You could, I've had a similar situation. You could spin this. You could say, sure, you can knock down the fence. And in order to be even on my property, I'm charging you X many dollars a week to be, using it. And when you rebuild the fence and rebuild the thing that's been damaged, it'll be rebuilt in this way. And if they say no, they say no. But they might say yes.
Well, but can I just say no?
But at the moment, you can just say no.
Sure. But have a think about whether your situation can be improved by this.
Oh, well, quite possibly, maybe, but I don't want the, amenity outside. It's just an old house. I just don't want it touched, really.
I'm sure, but don't get too caught up in that history thing. You actually could end up with an improvement to your house that a big developer who can afford to pay it will pay for, which might give you 20 more years on your fence.
Yeah, well,
I know it's something to consider, but anyway, that possibility sits there live right now.
But at the moment, you can just say no, Anna.
You can,
but
yeah.
make a decision that's in your best long-term strategic interest, rather than, oh, gee, I like that outside.
I like
loo.
that dunny. It's a nice dunny. Leave it alone.
Nobody's used it for a couple of years, but that's
right.
neither here nor there.
You never know. It could turn into a very nice outdoor dunny if you play this one right. Anyway, good luck.
It's still an outdoor dunny.
Well, they're not all the same. Some are called pool houses, those outdoor dunnies. They're very different things these days. Lizzie in Ascot Vale, good morning.
Oh, hi there. Good morning. We've had an issue where we had some building. We had our bathroom renovated, and the company quoted us. They gave us 2 options, and we went with option 1, which was about $7,000. Now that they've completed the works, they've sent us a bill for $18,000.
Yes.
Which is significantly different to what we had discussed and to what the quotes have been. And when we've questioned them, they've said, no, it's not an administrative error. That's because we requested a quote full demo on the day that they began, but we don't recall that happening.
I think you're going to need to look, Lizzie. It is possible for you to go to VCAT, for VCAT to tell you how much you owe these people. So you've got a dispute about price and the scope of works. There's also, in my view, a requirement if there's going to be a variation, then the variation would need to be in writing. You've also moved. You've also moved from minor domestic works to a point at the $18,000. It's required. There are requirements for documents to be in writing in a particular form because it's now a major domestic building contract because it's over $16,000.
Okay.
So
right.
I would. I think what I would be doing would be looking at the quote and seeing if you can determine how the scope of works changed and what they meant. And then try and work out what in the circumstances is a fair price. And it may be that your 7 is a fair price, and it may be that there are other things that were done along the way that added to the value for which you ought to pay. But if you want to take the stubborn view, then the answer would be, I've got a quote for 7, I've got a bill for 18, I can't see the difference, I'm happy to pay the 7.
Yeah, okay. I mean, look, I don't think that they've done it maliciously, but there was certainly never any discussion along the way that we were changing from a $7,000 lot of building works to $18,000.
There's also, in my mind, a requirement that if there's going to be a variation of substance, it ought to be in writing.
Yeah.
So, and did they finish in this allotted time? I mean, builders never finish in the allotted
No,
time.
yeah,
but,
so look,
that's
so
just
do-
one of those things,
Yeah.
right? They try.
Some do.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
I was
Right.
heavily pregnant, and my main concern was that it was going to be finished before the baby was born, and they did finish it before the baby was born.
Okay.
So.
So, Lizzie, I'd be looking at, did it take any longer? Did they change the materials? If
Yeah.
it didn't take any longer, I can't see why there'd be another $11,000, but I haven't looked at the bill or the quote.
Yeah.
So I'd start there.
Okay, good
Okay,
luck.
all right.
Thanks for
Awesome.
calling in.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Jake has called in from Perth, oddly enough. Hi, Jake.
Morning, Virginia. How are you?
Well, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you for getting up early and listening to us.
I'm just calling in to get advice on a situation where my mum had a mental health issue at the end of 2019
Yep.
and was scammed out of quite a bit of money.
Is
which
this in Perth or in Melbourne?
This is in Perth.
Okay. Yep.
So she was scammed out of quite a bit of money, which she took from borrowed against a mortgage she had against her house, and she's now having to sell her house to pay that off.
Can I, may
question
I ask quickly
Sorry.
about the nature of the scam, just very quickly?
It was a romance scam online,
Okay.
and just the timing with that and the mental health issues meant that she was more susceptible to it.
Oh,
than
dear, I'm
would
so
have
sorry.
been
So,
otherwise been.
Jake, is she going to have enough money to pay cash for the house?
Yes, so she will. So the
Okay.
house had previously been paid off.
And you
so-
want to make sure how this doesn't happen again?
correct? Yeah.
Right. So, what? And the note that's on the screen says that if you put the house in a trust, would it prevent her from borrowing again? The answer is it depends upon who the trustee of the trust is. But if
Okay.
she's the trustee of the trust, it won't help at all. Is your mum a pensioner?
She's not currently.
Okay. Is she going to be or likely to be? Because giving the house away to a trust or taking the money and putting it in a trust might have Centrelink implications. So if you were to do this, if the property was purchased in your mum's name,
Yep.
and you lent her $100 to assist with the purchase, and you put a mortgage on the property to secure your $100, then you're in front of everybody else.
Okay.
All right, so she then can't go and borrow more money from the bank without dealing with your mortgage. So that should then be the flag for the problem.
Okay.
Does that make it? So the answer,
Yeah,
and also if you put the money in a trust, you're going to have long-term capital gains tax issues.
Yep.
There's just too much that could go wrong. My reaction would be, put the money in your mum's name, register a mortgage on the title. I was going to suggest lodging a caveat, but caveats in Western Australia are only good for 3 or 6 months.
Right.
So I would be registering a mortgage just for a nominal amount of money.
Yep.
And that means that if somebody tries to do something with the title, you get notified.
Okay. Good
Okay,
luck.
that's great. Thanks very much.
And good luck to your mum. What a terrible, terrible thing to go through. Bob in Glen Waverley, what's happening?
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to buy a car privately, and I wanted to ask David about ensuring the guy I'm buying the car off, in fact, owns the car. I've got no reason to think he doesn't.
Good
but
question, yes.
I do know a guy that had to pay $25,000 twice to own a $25,000 car, and I don't want to be that guy.
Bob, the answer is I've no bloody idea.
Can I butt in? Sorry,
the Road Safety Act is a register of operators.
Right.
It is not a register of owners.
Right.
And in fact, the Road Safety Act says very clearly that the VicRoads records are not maintained and are not maintained in respect of vehicle ownership, but in respect of vehicle operators.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter who owns the car that Virginia drives. If it's registered in her name, she's registered as the operator, so that if there's a ticket which is issued, it goes home to her.
Yes.
All right?
But what if I want to sell it?
Well, it may well be that you've got to prove to somebody that you actually own it, as opposed to have it registered in your name.
That's the question.
So,
yes.
how old's the vehicle, Bob?
It's 2 years old. It's in good nick.
Then I would be
looked up
asking for evidence of the purchase of the vehicle. I'd ask for two things. Prove to me you purchased it, and prove to me that for the 2 years it's been registered in your name, and I'll take that as kind of an assurance that you haven't dealt with it.
Yes.
And there's also a securities register maintained under the Personal Property Securities Register. And if you put in the motor vehicle registration number or the VIN
Yes.
then they will tell you whether there is a charge registered against the vehicle.
I have done that for $2, and it says there is no security interest or other registration kind.
Yeah, that doesn't deal with ownership.
Is that the REVS check? I've got someone here on text saying the REVS check, a $4 check.
Yes.
Okay. But that doesn't deal with ownership.
No, that just proves that no finance company's got a security interest in it.
All right.
Right.
So ask them to prove that they own it, and that should be the paperwork when they bought it, given that it's only 2 years old.
Thank you.
All right.
And thanks for calling in, and good luck. Robin in Rosanna, how can we help you?
Good morning, thank you. Yes, I discovered some unclaimed money from my father from 1950s. Now, my father's been dead for 30 years and my mother has been dead for 6 years. We have 3 sisters in the family and we're all executors to Mum's will. But one of the sisters are estranged. I wanted to claim 2/3 of that money. Would there be a problem doing that?
I take it there are 3 sisters?
Yes, she said yes.
And the whole of your mum's estate goes 3 ways?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, what you're doing is when you took on the role of administering your mother's estate, you'd said you'd give effect to the terms of the will.
Yeah.
So the money belongs to your sister, or the third.
Oh yes, look, I understand it. I'm quite happy for her to have it.
Yes.
Except that she's made it very clear, and we don't know where she is. And the thing is, if we can't find her, that's what I'm saying.
Who were the executors who actually got a grant of probate?
All of you, all sisters were, weren't
all
they?
the 3 sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
how much are we arguing about, Robin?
Well, it's under 10,000. It's not very much.
So why
money.
don't if I wanted to do it properly, I would apply for all of the money, and having applied for all of the money, I would then give them back a third on the basis that I can't find the beneficiary it belongs to.
Well, there was a mention from the insurance company that I open a deceased account, which means that I'd still have to have 3 signatures to open that account, wouldn't I?
Then why would you not pay a lawyer to receive the money on your behalf?
Yes, well, yeah, that's right. I could do that.
Yes,
could I? Just go to a lawyer?
Yeah, I talk to a lawyer around the corner and say, here's my issue, this is what I want to do. And explain the process. Will it cost you some money? The answer would be yes, it is.
How much roughly do you think it'll cost?
I don't know how much is going to be involved.
Give me a ballpark.
Oh, $800, $1,000.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So all right, we'll do that. And if not, there could be some way I can get in touch with her, and then hopefully we'll go from there.
Yes.
Yeah, and then maybe you open that account together. But good luck. Thanks for calling in. Ali in Endeavour Hills, what's happening? Hello? Hello, Ali, last chance. I can hear you, but you can't hear me. No, haven't I got Ali there? Oh, I think I've got the wrong thing. My error, operator error there, which, let me tell you...
It's rare, incredibly rare.
Happens more often than you'd want to know. Ali, is that you?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
You were yelling at the radio,
morning.
I'm sure. What's happening?
Let me turn off the radio. Good morning to you guys. I've got a problem with my neighbours.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
With fencing. What happened is fences, we got left-hand side fencing is 31 meter long. Not going to get to the details. It's collapsing, actually. 3-4 panels is completely gone. It's collapsed. And it's eventually my kids is not safe, and even the tenants is not safe because they got kids.
Ali, what you do is you and your neighbour won't assist.
It is. I cannot see the neighbour. It's operating by real estate. I contact the real estate. They said they got a code for $1,800 to replace 3 panels of that fence, which is I got a code to change whole panel, whole fence 31 meter long is in 2,500. They're not keen to do it.
Your issue, Ali, is what work is necessary as opposed to what work is desirable. So if the work that needs to be done, so if a fence is capable of being repaired, you can't force your neighbour to have a new one. You can force your neighbour to contribute to the repairs, but not to a new one.
Yes, absolutely. That's why my problem is the whole fence is gone. 3 panels completely collapsed, and then he very keen to do it to replace only 3 panels, but in $1,800. My problem is
how many panels are there, Ali?
31 meter.
How many
by
panels?
15 panels in
so
total.
there are 15 panels, and you say
Yep.
that three are completely gone,
Yep.
and you would like to replace the other 12. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well,
That's it.
it seems to me that just on your description that it's
Yep.
repairable.
No, it is not because the post is it's a timber fence. The post is completely gone.
Then
My
your
problem
process,
is,
then, Ali, if you think that's what happens, is you go to, you issue a fencing notice, and you then go to the magistrate's court and come along and say the fence is so badly gone it needs to be completely replaced.
yeah, okay. I would like to go there, but as you mentioned in the earlier program, I don't really like to just. What happens if I spend $30,000 or $20,000 in magistrate court, which is only replaced with $3,000 the fence?
No, that was a different issue. That was where someone was a party to an unwilling party to a proceeding and then failed to do anything properly about it. Ali, if you want to see the forms and documents that you require, there's material on the Magistrates Court website, and there's also material that you'll find in the lawhandbook.net.au, which is the Fitzroy Legal Service Handbook.
All right. Well, hopefully that works for you, Ali. Thanks very much. I've also got this on text this morning, David, following our earlier request about how do you check if the car you're going to buy is owned by the person who says they're selling it. Put the rego into Vic Roads. It will indicate if the car is reported as stolen.
Yes.
I know this, says Jan in Buninyong, because my Subaru is stolen. So Jan has registered said car like that. So that's another way you can go. David, great to see you. Did we have any homework out of that?
No.
All right, you are free and clear to go. Good luck with the injection. Have a nice day off, and make sure your employees get the same thing too. David Whiting there from a certain legal firm.